Got that water boiling. I think that's the first time I've ever had my water boiling like that. 6 minutes in this thing to get the water boiling. That's cool. That's kind of what you want anyway. Good morning, everyone. I am Trucker Ray. How are you today? Just making myself breakfast and just about ready to head to Atlanta. I still got a little bit of time left, so I'm just on my regular schedule here in the morning. If this is the first time you're visiting my channel, welcome. I share the gospel of Yeshua, and I like to share my experiences out here on the highways of North America, what it's like to be a Christian truck driver, and the positives, the negatives, not leaving anything out, just showing you what life is really like out here. And if you are new to the channel, I've got a lot of videos on there right since day one, pretty well, since I started driving 8 years ago. So I know in some guys I'm still a rookie, but you know what? I'd like to say that I've learned quite a bit in 8 years. A lot of it on my own. I think I've had a few tips and tricks along the way from my buddy Glenn, who I miss a lot, who I used to drive with Transx and Challenger. Used to drive for Transx and Challenger. So Glenn, if you're watching, I miss you, buddy. I miss your wisdom. We'll have to get together when I come into town. I know I keep saying that, but there's always something that clogs me up. But I got a lot more time on my hands now when I get home. So, yeah, lots of videos on here. You can check them out. I'll never ever claim to know everything, but I'm more than happy to share with you what I've learned. And for those of you that have been here before, welcome back. It's great to have you here. In the last video, you seen pretty well me leaving California and making my way up to here and into Kentucky. And like I said, I'm just about ready to head out, maybe in a couple hours, and go do our drop in Georgia. We get to drive through Nashville today, which I'm really excited about. And yeah, the interstate goes right through Nashville, so I think we're going to get a real beautiful view. It's Sunday, so hopefully we won't be dealing with a whole bunch of traffic. And my delivery time is 8 p.m. And by the time they unload me, I'm hoping to get out of Atlanta and get over to a rest area, and then I can reconvene in the morning, because it'll be too late to be driving that long. So, my routine in the morning is I like to have the instant oatmeal. I like the, what is it, the maple and brown sugar. I add raisins to it. I buy a little bit of raisins, and then I add a tinge of brown sugar, because I do have a bit of a sweet tooth. And then I finish it up with a grapefruit. These are really good for you, really refreshing in the morning. I strongly recommend you get yourself grapefruit. I usually also have a little bottle of cranberry juice, but when I was at the Walmart on Friday, I believe it was, I didn't, or was it Saturday, I just forgot to buy it. But it's not even that I forgot to buy it. Everything out here in the US is the same price, if not more expensive out here than it is in Canada. So you're paying like a lot more because of the exchange. Because our Canadian dollar is useless. It's like 75 cents to your $1. Maybe it's less. 71 cents. So if this costs, like, say this cost $1 in Canada, this grapefruit, up here I'd be paying almost like $2 for it. After the exchange, after the charges on your credit card and everything, it's just, you're better off to buy your food in Canada, for my fellow Canadian truckers. And besides, you can't buy these and drive over the US border. They'll throw them out. They don't take any chances. So I don't blame them anyway. They don't want their crops being destroyed by some fool that brings in fruit and doesn't recognize whether or not it's got parasites on it. So I'm just going to eat my breakfast. I'm going to do my Bible study. I do a little bit of reading out of the Bible. I love to do that first thing in the morning. Your physical food, your spiritual food, and then I take my walk and say my prayers, and then we'll be on our way. We are on our way. Yes, we are. We've completed a full 36. I know I said in my last video a 34, but I was saying 34 because we're out in the US. But I did a full 36, so when I cross the border, I will not be in violation because I might be crossing over in Portal. And feel refreshed. I had a shower this morning because you don't always have a chance to take a shower. Especially if you're at a rest area. Sponge, wash down, bath, whatever. Sometimes is all you get. And it was a good reset. As I took my walk, the Flying J had Christmas music playing over the loudspeakers. It was nice. It was nice. It was a good reset. Very happy. And look at this. The most sunshine I've seen all weekend. Wow, what am I talking about? The most sunshine I've seen all week. I've seen little bits of sunshine, but nothing like what we're seeing right now. This is very beautiful. Very happy. So we're about an hour away from Nashville. And we're scheduled to be where I gotta be at about, well, they said I gotta check in, I can check in at 6. But it looks like a big industrial area. And it's Sunday. And I noticed that the road that you go up to get to this place is a huge big lot. So I'll probably park it there for about an hour. And then make my way in at 6 and check in. We made it into Nashville, and that's quite a nice sized city there. Again, I love visiting these the cities that I've never been through before. I always find it very fascinating. Looks like we're going to be driving right by it. One of the things I love about driving in the U.S., just seeing different places that I've never seen before, and so much history in the U.S. Got a lot of history too in Canada, but nothing like they have down here.
gonna stop here and get my fuel at this pilot over here. Don't really need to take a 30 because I only got another hour to go before I get to where I'm going, and I still got 3 hours and 51 minutes I can drive. So there's no sense on taking a DOT break. Just top up the fuel. So when I'm done with those guys, I can just head back, and it gives me a chance to stretch my legs a little bit right now. Oh, Wow, the weather out here is nice. 14 degrees, not terribly warm, but much better than it was through most of my trip here. Yeah, I noticed too, there's not a lot of leaves on the trees out here, so they do get, I guess they do get a winter out here. Not much of one, I'm sure. So we got a TA on the left, and we got the Flying J on the right. And I have not been here before, so I don't quite know which way you gotta go in. Is it this way? Yep, it is, and they don't tell you. Gee, some truck stops, they will clearly tell you which way to get in. Not here. There's a sign there, but it's hiding behind the tree. That doesn't help. What is this guy doing? What are you doing there, buddy? He's changing his mind. He's moving to a different lane. Bum, 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 bum. He chose not to go to that one for some reason. I have a feeling that one's out of order. Let's hope this one's working. I don't see anything on here. And these pumps are a bit staggered. So we gotta move a little bit further up. We got a guy sitting there and eating pizza on the... He's not even fueling up. He's probably doing his DOT. Right in the fueling lane. We're getting pretty close here. It's funny too because my GPS tells me the route I'm going is not a truck route. But yet it's all industrial in here. I'm pretty sure it's fine. There's only one way in and one way out of this place, and it's a big facility. I looked it up on Google Earth. It's a good sized facility and there's only one way in, so again, the GPS showing to be wrong. Trade water is what I want, and there's trade water there. Probably where this guy's pulling out. Yes, it is. Atlanta Gateway Park. Yeah, there's the big roundabout turnout I seen. It's right there on my left. It's right there. And we've already got somebody there. So, what I think I'm going to do, no trucks allowed in there. I'm going to park it here anyway. still get off the road and make my turn. Yeah. Actually, this is a Maricold. Yeah. So I can check in at 6, they said, so I still got another hour, so yeah, I'm just gonna park it here for now. And have a bite to eat because I'm hungry. Well, they said I could check in just before 6, or at 6. It's just before 6 now. So hopefully they don't turn me back and they'll let me park it. We'll see what happens here. Well, I'm just getting a little bit of exercise. I have no idea how long it's going to take these guys to unload me. My appointment was for 8 p.m. It's about 8:30 now, and they still haven't opened up the doors, so just have to wait it out. I got 4 hours left, and hopefully they unload me within a couple hours because I want to get at least an hour out of town. And the nearest rest area is about an hour and a half out of town. So it's important that we get unloaded here so I can get out of here with enough time to get out of Atlanta. I don't want to be stuck here. I don't want to be stuck here in the morning when the traffic during rush hour. I really don't want to have to deal with that. So hopefully they'll have me unloaded in a couple hours at least, and then I'll have a little bit of time on my hands to get out of town. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. Well, a bit of an update. They can't unload me tonight because the load has shifted. They more or less loaded whoever the individual was that loaded this load at the shipper, loaded the skids on sideways when they should have put them straight in, where there was more strength in the load, because it's a light. The skids are light. It's bread. And even the guy inside, he says the first 4 rows they loaded properly. They were straight up, no problem. As soon as they pulled those out, the other ones are all shifted forward. So they're going to have to get lumpers in the morning to unload those, because they can't pull them out with a skid. Or should I say, they can't pull them out with a forklift, or they'll just topple over. Not sure how far in the load is tilted. And it's really nothing that I did, because I never did any hard brake application or anything. It would have showed up on the satellite. I just drove normal. It was just the load just shifted. Just from any kind of braking, the load just shifted forward because the skids are sideways, not straight in. And I guess the way they did that, so they could get more skids on, maybe. I don't know. That's what the guy in there thinks. He thinks they did it that way so they get more skids on. So now I got to get a hold of my dispatch and let them know. At least the nighttime dispatch, so they know. I don't think it's going to matter if I tell them. And they'll have some lumpers or swampers in the morning to unload this load, and they'll be here about 6 o'clock their time. So I'm trying to see what time zone I'm in right now. It's 7 right now, and it's 10. So there's a 3 hours. Okay, 3 hours. So when it's like 6 o'clock in the morning for me, it'll be 3 here. So they'll hopefully have me unloaded before I even wake up. So I can stay here for the night, which is a good thing. I'll do my 10 right here. What do you do? Hi there, and welcome to another edition of Bible Break. Trucker Ray back with you once again as we continue our series in the book of Revelation. Today we are on chapter 13, and now things are starting to get interesting. I just love the book of Revelation. I really hope you're finding that you are receiving an amazing blessing from this, because it does promise that whoever reads and hears this book, the book of Revelation, this prophetic book, receives amazing blessings. And I don't think anyone wants to give up on a good blessing, considering what's going on in our world right now. I know I've had people previously say, can you please let us know when the Bible break comes on so I can skip past it? You don't want to skip past this, because when you stand before Jesus, what are you going to say when he says, I sent that crazy trucker to try to show you what I'm all about, but you kept skipping past it, and you're not going to be able to say, but. There you go. All right, my dear friends, if you are prepared, I am prepared. Let's dig into chapter 13 as we see about the Antichrist coming to power. New King James Version is what I'm reading out of. Chapter 13, verse 1, let's go. Then I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rising up out of the sea, having 7 heads, 10 horns, and on his horns 10 crowns, and on his heads a blasphemous name. Now, if we can give you a bit of a description of this, he's rising out of the sea. No, he's not rising out of the ocean or the sea. He's rising out of nations. The sea, in a prophetic way, always is meant by a mass multitude or nations, massive multitude of people. And I'm guessing this is just rising up from the nations. And as we continue, 7 heads. The 7 heads, I think, could represent 7 dynasties. Like we've got the Roman Empire, etc., etc. I don't know all of them offhand. I didn't write it all down, but that's what I think the heads are referring to. And we have the 10 horns, which we do know the 10 horns and the 10 crowns represent kings, leaders of nations. So here is a man that comes out of a 10-nation world government who ends up taking complete power. As we will continue on, you'll see what I'm talking about. And on his head a blasphemous name. Not sure what that blasphemous name is. Verse 2, now the beast which I saw was like a leopard. His feet were like the feet of a bear, and his mouth was like the mouth of a lion. The dragon gave him his power. The enemy, Satan himself, gave him his power, his throne, and great authority. Verse 3, and I saw one of his heads as if it had been mortally wounded, and his head and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world marveled and followed the beast. Now it says that there was one of his heads was wounded. I'm guessing this could be interpreted 2 different ways. Could this be a world power at one time that died and now it's been resurrected? Or is this one of the leaders, maybe assassination attempt was made on him and he actually lived? Not entirely sure. I'm going to leave it with you guys to see what the Holy Spirit shares with you. And it says, and the world marveled and followed the beast. Verse 4, so they worshipped the dragon who gave authority to the beast, and worshipped the beast, saying, who is like the beast and who is able to make war with him? He will be the leader of the entire world. Who will be able to make war with him? Only one. And we know who wins that war, don't we? Verse 5, and he was given a mouth, speaking great things and blasphemies, and he was given the authority to continue for 42 months. Here we go again, 3.5 years. Verse 6, then he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, his tabernacle, and those who dwell in heaven. Not too many good things coming out of this man's mouth. Verse 7, it was granted to him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and authority was given him over every tribe, tongue, and nation. Again, ruler of the entire planet. Unless you are a child of God, It says it was granted to him to make war with the saints. Who were the saints? Well, the Christians have always been known as the saints. Verse 8, all who dwell on the earth will worship him, whose names have not been written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. Are you hearing me clearly? I'll read this again. Verse 8, all who dwell on the earth will worship him, the Antichrist, whose names have not been written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If anyone has an ear, let him hear. Why do you think that they won't be worshiping him? Because they know better. Remember, during these last days, a strong delusion will come upon the whole world who have rejected Christ, that they will believe all of this man's lies. But will his saints, will his church, will the Christians even listen to anything that he has to say? No way. They will see right through him. This is why he will make war with them and overtake them. At least most of them anyway. Because we do know at the end that when Jesus comes, those who remain on the earth will be caught up to meet the Lord in the air. So he won't overcome all the saints. He won't overcome all the church, all the Christians. But he will overcome a lot of them. And a lot of them will be martyred for their faith. Verse 10, he who leads into captivity shall go into captivity. He who kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Verse 11, then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon. I do believe this is referring to the false prophet, the man who will say all the wonderful things about the Antichrist, even encourage people to build an idol for him, to create the one world religion. Who do you think that could be? There's plenty of talk on who this could be. Verse 12, and he exercises all authority of the first beast in his presence, and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. There we go again, deadly wound. Let's go back to verse 3. And I saw one of the heads as if it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world marveled and followed the beast. I wonder, some say, oh, this deadly wound is a dynasty that had gone down, say the Roman Empire that was defeated way back when, and it's going to be revived. This also could mean that one of the leaders of this 10-nation government, world government, was possibly an assassination attempt on him. Maybe even they thought he was dead, but came back to life, or either he had miraculously been healed or recovered. And this could be the man, possibly? I'm going to read this one more time. Verse 12, and he exercises all authority of the first beast in his presence, and causes the earth and those to dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Isn't that amazing? Just makes you think a little bit, doesn't it? Is this talking about the same individual in verse 3? I do believe it is. So what do you think happened? Is it a world government from past, or is it a man that maybe an assassination attempt was made on him? It's interesting to think about these things. Pray about it. Just pray about it. I'm not saying that's what's going on. I'm just saying it sounds interesting, doesn't it? Verse 13. He performs great signs, so that even makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in front of the sight of men. This is what this false prophet will do. He'll be able to perform miracles. Why do you think they'll draw so many people to this Antichrist? Wow. Oh, that's not possible. If we see things like that, we'll know it's evil. No. Look what's going on in the world right now. Look at all the things that are accepted right now. You'd be amazingly surprised what people can fall into just simply by seeing signs and wonders. And remember, the Bible does say that these people that have not had their name written in the Lamb's book of life will receive a strong delusion that they will believe everything this man says. So it is possible that they will believe every sight, every sign, every wonder that is performed by this false prophet on behalf of the Antichrist. Verse 14. And he deceives those who dwell on the earth by those signs which he was granted to do in the sight of the beast, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast who was wounded by the sword and lived. Whoa! Here we go again. He was wounded by the sword and lived. This is sounding like this was an assassination attempt on this man. But it sounds like it was an assassination attempt before he came to power. Isn't this sounding a little bit more intriguing? How much more interesting can this man be? Look at him. We must follow him. He must be God. He resurrected. Think about it. He will claim to be God later. So by him dying or possibly dying and then came back to, and that had come back to life, resurrected, what a perfect opportunity to say, I'm God. I came back to life. I resurrected myself. The devil will do amazing things to fool people. He will try to imitate Christ as much as he can possible because he will bring forward his unholy trinity. His unholy trinity. Satan himself, who wants to represent God the Father. Then you've got the Antichrist, and then you've got the false prophet. This is the unholy trinity. Satan is a copycat, and this is what he's doing. Verse 15, he was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. You don't worship this beast? Off with his head. Verse 16, he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads. You'll need to receive this mark on your right hand or your forehead. Why your right hand or forehead? Well, on your forehead, on your right hand, I can see, but if you are handicapped and you don't have arms, well, it's going on your forehead. 17, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So you will not be able to buy anything. You will not be able to sell anything. That's including food. You won't be able to do any transactions. You probably won't be able to work, receive a paycheck, unless you have this mark from that government. So it's either you do that or you die. Verse 18, here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666. There's been so many calculations and assumptions on what 666 means. I don't know what it means. But I think as we get closer and closer, the saints, the church, those who eat, breathe, and sleep this word of God, those who have the living God living in their heart, the Holy Spirit, we will see, we will know when this stuff is unfolding. My friends, if any of this is even shaking you up a little bit, it's going to happen. This is all going to happen. This isn't a fairy tale. This is why it really shocks me and it makes me sad when I hear people say they want to skim through the Bible stuff. This stuff is going to save your soul from an eternity of darkness. There's only two places you can go when you die: in the presence of God or out of the presence of God. And out of the presence of God is torment. There's only two places you can go. And God does not send people to hell. God does not send people to an eternity of darkness. People send themselves there by simply, how do I say this in the most straight way as I can? People send themselves to this outer world of darkness for an eternity by simply rejecting Christ. They send themselves there. All of us on this earth We're meant to have a relationship with God. This is why he sent his son to die a gruesome, terrible death on the cross so your sins can be forgiven. So you can spend an eternity with God. This is how much he loves you. He sacrificed his own son. And if you reject his son, you reject him. And if you reject him, when you die, there will be no turning back. You will have an eternity of darkness. I really pray that you turn to God today. Turn to Jesus and give your life to him today. And if you don't know how, send me an email and I'll send you some information on how you can. truckerray7@gmail.com. My friends, yeah, it's getting really interesting, isn't it? We continue with chapter 14 next time, reaping the earth's harvest, as we get ever so closer to the millennial kingdom. Join me next time, won't you?
Hi, my name is Nathan and I'm from Livingston County, New York, and when I'm not having any fun or hanging out with my girlfriend, I'm watching Life on the Road with Yeshua and Trucker Ray. And Trucker Ray, if you're watching this, I really enjoy being one of your subscribers, and thank you so much for all that you're doing, and keep them semi-truck wheels rolling. God bless. Thanks.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm still over here at Americold in Atlanta. They said they were going to have lumpers here at 6 a.m. Well, it's 2 hours past that and they can't get a hold of anybody. I really don't know how long this is going to take. Yeah, just don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know when the lumpers will be here. I don't know how long I will be here. My other load picks up in Indiana, or should I say, yeah, Indiana, in Richmond, Indiana, tomorrow at 2 p.m. It's 8 hours from here to there, so I guess I could spend several hours still here and make it there still okay. So I'm just going to put it in the Lord's hands and yeah, everything will be fine. I always think of if you're being delayed, there's a reason for it. And I have learned just to accept things the way they are. There's really no point on getting upset about it or being negative about it. I have been negative in the past and impatient in the past. And I don't know, when you spend a little time away from trucking like I did, it was only a month and a half away, it just made you appreciate your job a little bit better. And made you appreciate how fortunate we are as drivers that when we park into a loading dock, we can actually sit back in our sleeper, and some watch TV, some play video games, some do whatever, and we can just relax and we're not being, bickered at by a boss or something. It's like you're almost self-employed when you're out here. You're given an assignment, you're given a job, a destination, get it there. And it's not my fault that the load shifted. It was the way they loaded it. So it's kind of out of my hands. I'm still waiting for a normal hour back in BC to roll around, maybe in about another few minutes. And then I'll be able to call Vancouver and let them know what's happening. Actually, I think it's 6 a.m. over there. There's still nobody there. So, because we're on Eastern time zone now. But they're going to call me and let me know when they have a lumper on the line and when they're going to be coming over. And they said it shouldn't take them long to hand bomb everything off. It could be just a few rows that are shifted. They can't tell. So we'll just kind of wait it out. That's all we can do. And I'll do my regular routine. I'll have my breakfast. I'll do my Bible study. I'll go for a walk and then I'll work on my video. While I'm here, I might as well, right? Praise God. Well, my friends, I'm finally getting out of this place. They finally unloaded me. Wow. So they started unloading me at about 8 o'clock last night. So I've been here, well, another 6 hours. That would be 24 hours. But it wasn't their fault. It wasn't their fault at all, because whoever loaded this load, or whoever loaded it, did it all wrong. And they had to get lumpers to come in and do it. So, unfortunately, that's what happened. I overheard too that another one of our drivers had the same issue coming from the same place. So they're gonna have a talk with whoever loaded these. It's gonna cost the company too, because they had to pay for lumpers to do it. So chances are they had to pay for lumpers at the other place too, wherever it was delivering. So somebody's gonna be in trouble, or deducted, or lose their job. But hey man, you gotta load these things properly, especially when they're stacked that high. There's only about 3 feet difference from the top of the air chute. So, oh boy, this is gonna be bumpy. Yeah, nice roads here. It's oh boy, we're getting close here to being stuck in rush hour, so I want to get out of here as soon as possible. Wow, these trees aren't giving us much clearance here. So yeah, we just want to get out of here before the rush hour kicks in, and by the time we get up to the next major city, I'm really hoping that we won't have to deal with anything. Where's this guy going? He's turning left. Oh boy, this is going to be fun. Oh yeah, this should be a traffic light here. This is not going to be fun getting out of here. Anyway, we're finally done. I'm happy about that. And then we can move on and get out of this place, get back on the interstate, and hopefully make our appointment tomorrow. Ay, ay, ay. This is not looking good. I'm gonna go for this. Sorry, buddy. He was nice about it. There's no way I'm gonna sit there and wait for all that traffic, man. That's just too much. So we gotta make our way up here, and we'll hit the interstate. We'll hit the I-20 and get out of town as fast as we can here before the traffic starts. Yeah, it's a cool one out there this morning. I know some of you might say it's only 0, you wimp. No, it's about -10 with the wind chill. But when you're not used to this, when it's been like yesterday it was 17 degrees where I was, and then I come into this. So yeah, it's you need to adjust. You need to adjust. This is a nice rest area here. Where are we here anyway? I wish this GPS would tell me where we were half the time. I remember there was one nice thing about the Cobra GPS that I had. The nice thing about it is that it always told me where you were. Okay, we're in Florence, Kentucky. That's where we are, Florence. All right, so that's where we are. And yeah, that was one nice thing about that GPS, even though nothing else worked on it properly. It did tell you where you were on the bottom. It always told you what town you're in. That's something Garmin should improve. That's about the only thing it's missing. But this is a really nice rest area. You can fit a lot of trucks in here. And it's so funny, last night I showed up here and I'm praying and I'm looking at a lot of the other parking areas on the way here and everything is full. Truck stops and everything, and I'm like, oh man, I'm not even gonna get a parking stall. I pull into this parking, or I prayed ahead of time and said, Lord, to get me a spot, man, I really need a spot for the night. I don't want to be parked on the side of the road somewhere. And I pull into that rest area, I kid you not, I pull right into it, and all the trucks are lined up on the ramp, and I'm like, oh, this place is gonna be packed, I know it. I pull around the corner and there is literally a parking spot for me straight in front of me. I didn't have to turn left, right, just pulled right into it. I was laughing. I was just laughing. I'm like, Lord, you're amazing. You're amazing how you take care of me all the time. really enjoyed this route along the US 52 here. Lots of nice old towns. This is a little bit of a bigger town. This is Brookville. And these are the things I really enjoyed about doing the LTL. You had a lot of opportunities to see little towns like this. So this is a real bonus. And I know we'll probably see a lot more of this because not every single load we pick up is a reefer load. For example, what I'm picking up right now, it's not a reefer load, but but it's kind of neat. You know what I was thinking about when I was driving through some of these back roads, and wouldn't it be neat to spend 2 days in every little town that you come in? Spend 2 days just exploring, talking to the people, getting to know a little bit about the history of the town, and then move on to the next town and stay there for 2 days. And do that for the rest of your life. How much fun would that be? Now this is nice. This is very charming. Look at this. You guys know I love this part. Nice old buildings. Big old church up there. Let's see if the clock is accurate. Oh, it's accurate. Look at that. It's accurate. So I guess we're in the downtown core of this little town, Brookville. Bail bonds. That must be a courthouse there, I'm guessing, or the city hall. Can you imagine what this little town is like? Look at this little look at the nativity scene they got set up here. Isn't that really cute? That's nice. So you spend 2 days in a town like this, and you go around talking and exploring and just chatting it up with people. Wouldn't that be fun? That would be a wonderful way to retire. But you know what? I can't ask for anything better than this. When would I ever have an opportunity to see anything like this unless you are doing what I do? My friends, there's a lot of disadvantages to trucking, but there's much more advantages. You get to see a lot more than what you would have never been able to see. And I enjoy it immensely. I really do. So I'm going to shut up. I'm just going to enjoy the rest of this route as we make our way through Brookville here. right, we have arrived in Richmond, Indiana. And it's -4 here. It is on the chilly side. It's on the chilly side. This is a bigger town, obviously. I'm not sure what the population is here. How about I just clap my hands and it'll appear on the screen? There you go. Gotta like that, eh? So this is the place we want, color box. I see some guy backing in off the road. That's never a good sign. That's never a good sign. I don't think that's for me though. Proceed to rear of building, shipping and receiving. I can do that. I called ahead of time. She told me between the shell and their building, I was able to get in. Something keeps clunking in the back there. That's starting to get on my nerves. All right. Well, I might have come all the way down here for nothing. I might have driven 543 miles for nothing. I go in here and they say, oh, we might have double booked this one. He says, we filled an I-haul trailer yesterday. I got a bad feeling that we might have double booked you. It's no big deal. It's only 540 miles. For those of you that think I'm negative, for those of you that think I complain too much, smiling, smiling. It's only 543 miles. Anyway, I got a bad feeling about this. Oh boy. I don't know what they're going to do. They said the only other load that's going out is Friday, and I'm not sitting around here until Friday. So, I don't quite know what they're going to do. I'm waiting to hear back from my dispatch. So, looks like somebody made a boo-boo. Probably somebody, the customer did or something, because this is just as much of a surprise to my dispatch. He's like, what? Yep, if that's the case, that's a big boo-boo. Anyway, we'll wait to hear back from my dispatch and see what they have to tell me. Jeez. Gotta love trucking, huh? Yeah, full of surprises. Looks like there's no load for me here. Hopefully they can find us a load that's close by. But I would say my day is a write-off. Yeah, a little bit disappointing, but again, this is the industry. You just don't know what's going to happen. I will say this to those of you that are new in the industry, or even those of you that have been in this industry for a long time, just a friendly reminder. Always call ahead of time to see if your load is available. Find out if it's ready. Find out if it's legit. I tried to call this place 3 times this morning. The guy would not answer his phone. If he would have answered his phone, we could have found out there was no load here and we could have been dealing with this 4 hours ago. So call ahead of time. Make sure that load is legit. Whatever load you got, even if your dispatcher says it's a short thing, still call the shipper anyway and just confirm it. Because people make mistakes, and this is a prime example right here. So I guess I'll just wait it out. And if I don't hear anything within a few minutes, I'm going to head over to the Loves, which is only about a mile from here. Because if I'm not going anywhere tonight, I might as well find a parking spot. You know, it's funny, I drive like, I don't know how many miles through all these backwooded areas and everything just to find out there's a Love's right next to the place here, which is kind of funny. It's kind of funny. Looks like there's a spot right up front here. I wonder if it's reserved. I hope not. Well, I could be here all night. I don't know, I might be. Maybe too late to get a load now. But I'd rather be at a place where there's a washroom, shower, or at least I'm see that little noise it makes? That's the little noise it makes when you don't have it in neutral. Or if you gear up or gear down and there's no more gear, you don't get this ridiculous siren going off. It just gives you little beeps. I like that about this truck. Very much. Okay, well, I still have not heard back from my dispatch. Don't really know what's happening, so I am just gonna park it here and wait it out.